steeplechaser coming out hot and getting
Yeah.
the victory. 7:23. Mo Katir also breaking the old world record, coming in second, running 7:24. And I think what was great about this world record attempt is that there was two people in it the entire time. We weren't
Yeah.
just watching a man versus the clock. We were actually watching a legitimate race, and it was more about who was going to win, not necessarily whether or not they're going to beat the record time.
Yeah. And we knew looking at the pace projections with 3 laps to go that the record was probably going to go. So it was a race for the win, but also a race for the world record, which is very rare. You rarely see that. You're right. Usually it is a man or a woman out there alone, chugging along. There's a rabbit for a portion of it, but then the final lap or laps, it's a longer distance. It's just, will they get the record or won't they? This was, who is going to get the record? Is it going to be Girma? Is it going to be Katir? Girma was in the lead though, and I thought Katir could sit and then make one final move. So credit to Girma for making the push from a long way out and holding on. I thought Katir might have one final move coming around the final 100, but he didn't. Girma was right there, and this is a record, Gordon. This 25 years old. This is the second year. He's one of these Ethiopian steeplers. You hasten to call him a steepler now because he's the flat 3,000 world record holder. Just an amazing distance runner all around, but we know him more as a steepler. Last year it was Wale who almost got the record in this meet. Now it's Girma. It's very clear Ethiopia is putting their top talent into the steeple. They're putting their best runners into the steeple right now, partially because they just have an abundance of talent across the board, so they could still put really good runners in the 5 and the 10. But he'd be great in the 5, obviously, as well. This meet, I like that it's getting this reputation as this fast, star-studded event. I think it's cool because every single event we were looking for, okay, can they break this mark? Can they break that mark? And Girma debuts of the world record. First race of 2023. Incredible.
Yeah, kind of putting to bed like, oh, Rust Buster.
Rust busters are dead, right?
Yeah.
Just as a few years ago, indoor is always slower than outdoor. That was dead. Now, in some cases, that's true, but BU proved that to be dead. I think the whole Rust Buster thing is dead too. Girma proved it. Bowerman in the past has proved it. They'll just show up, indoor or outdoor. First one, oh, American record, oh, Canadian record. Some athletes are able to get going right away, and they just do enough speed work in practice, or they simulate the race enough. So when they get out there, it's like it's mid-season or it's like it's championship season already.
So this race also was the season debut of Grant Fisher. We got to see the other American that we look to as kind of the top dog right now. Obviously, he ran pretty well
Yeah.
last year, broke a bunch of American records. Yar Nagus and Woody Kincaid have been kind of taking a little bit of the headlines with their recent races. So we're kind of excited to see how Grant Fisher would respond to those two athletes' performances. And he runs 7:35, which turns out is a PB, which was weird. I was like, okay, PB. But when you run 7:35 in a 7:20 race, it's not going to look too fast. What were your thoughts on Fisher? We probably thought that maybe he would run in the 7:20s, especially seeing what Yard did, weeks prior. What was your reaction to Fisher kind of most likely falling short of what he thought he was going to be able to do?
Yeah, I watched the interview with him after. He wanted to run quicker. You go all the way over there and get in this race because you think you're capable of more. And the pace was just too much for him. Maybe if it was set up to be 7:32, 7:33, and then he could have kicked off that, it would have been different. But it was hotter than that. It was much quicker than that. He wasn't ready to go at that pace. I think it's interesting. We ended last year, Fisher the clear number one, and you don't want to overreact too much to indoors, but what's happened since then? You have Kincaid dropping that 5,000 meter time, breaking the American record. Nagus running 7:28. Now, Nagus is probably not going to run the 5,000 outdoors.
No.
We assume he's going to focus on the 1,500. So that's not a problem he's going to have to deal with. But as of right now, you have two performances clearly that are better than what Fisher ran. I also think it's a credit to him. The expectation is we thought he should be in this race. We were surprised when he fell off with 3 laps to go or 4 laps, whatever it was, and a gap emerged. Oh, that's weird. Because whether it was Diamond Leagues, whether it was World Championships, what did Fisher do? He stuck around, he stuck around, he stuck around, and it wasn't until the very end when he finally lost contact. So this was rare to see Fisher drop off this early. And I think it just goes to show how much the expectations have changed around him in the past year and a half.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he's done all the American recording. I mean, he had what, 4 last year? 3? 4? How many American records did he have last year? 4.
It was 4, right?
4 last year. So the next thing that he wants to do is get this first global medal. And, running in this race and running well in this race is a good way to, like, see if he's ready for that next that first global medal. But it didn't happen. It is indoor. It is a weird, this is kind of a weird combination. Like, is Katir going to be running the 5K? Probably not. He'll be running a 15. He's a 1500 meter guy.
So the steeple. You have a steepler who wins it.
Yeah, so looking at this, he got third. He got third in this race, which is good enough for a medal.
Yeah. I know we just got done saying rust busters don't matter, but I think you could say for some people, sometimes it matters. It didn't matter last year for him when he opened in BU and ran really fast, but that doesn't mean it's never going to matter. And he's going to run a 1500 in Madrid, short distance for him, but we'll see how he responds. But credit to him for putting himself in it, going out there to run that race with the best guys in the world right now, and came up short of his goal. But you could see a scenario. Fisher's so good at this point. If he broke Negus's record, nobody was going to be surprised. And if he was right there with Girma and Katir, I don't think anybody would have been stunned by that based on what we've seen from Fisher and his propensity to churn out these fast times.